Saki mbwembwe na kwele mchele kwa kuku kumwaga. Zako na wapenda yatusema nitasikia.
Anthropology is the study of humanity, past and present. It's the study of our evolution, our biology, our history, our culture. Hi, my name is Alyssa Crittenden, and I'm an anthropology professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas in the United States. And I'm a biocultural anthropologist, which means I'm particularly interested in where our behavior and our biology intersect. Most of my research has focused on the evolution of human diet and has looked at nutrition, and particularly maternal and child health and nutrition. I have been incredibly privileged. I've been so lucky to work with a community of hunter-gatherers who live in northern Tanzania named the Hadza. Scientists are really interested in working with communities like the Hadza, and with the Hadza in particular, because they live a lifestyle that has characterized the majority of human history. So for 95% of human history, we were hunters and gatherers, collecting wild foods off the land. And while we can still learn a lot about our evolutionary past by asking some types of questions with communities like the Hadza, increasingly the types of questions that we can ask and answer are changing. As the diet is changing, as the ecology is changing, increasingly we can learn more about adaptation and resilience and communities in transition. And often we can learn this information from the communities themselves in their own words. While there are those who live in the bush and continue to forage, there are many more. The vast majority of the population has moved out of the bush and moved into towns and cities, pursuing equally worthy lifeways. Assistance is now coming from outside, from missionaries, from aid organizations, from government offices, from nonprofits. Most of that aid, most of that support is being focused on healthcare initiatives and land rights, which are really important. What wasn't really being focused on was education and educational sovereignty. So Hadza mothers in particular got together and identified a list of things that they wanted for the children of their community. And education was at the top of the list for many members of the community who want to ensure that their children have a choice to stay in the bush and continue to hunt and gather, but with government representation and land rights, or a choice to leave the bush and move into towns and cities and pursue their dreams that are outside of a life in the bush. And without education, it makes it challenging to succeed. Primary school attendance is mandatory in Tanzania, and while attendance is covered, uniforms, shoes, pencils, books, basic school supplies, and even safe transportation to and from school are not covered. And it was this request, driven by the community, that drove me to work with members of the community and my longtime friend Shani Mangola to found Olanakwe Community Fund, which is a nonprofit aid organization that is based in the United States but is operational in Tanzania. I first met Shani about 10 years ago in Tanzania. I was friends with Shani's late father, Mustafa, and had worked with him for a number of years. So I knew all about Shani before I met him. Shani's kind of a famous Hadza. He's famous because he is an advocate for his community. He's an activist for his community. And he had gone all the way through primary school, secondary school, university in Tanzania, and has recently just completed a master's degree in Indigenous law and policy at the University of Arizona. So he's quite well known in his community, and he has done a lot of work with researchers, with aid organizations, with filmmakers. He is a tireless advocate for his community. So we had known each other for a number of years before we actually started working together. And Shani and I started spending a lot of time together, both in Tanzania and when he came here to the U.S. And we spent many hours in the U.S. talking about the community and talking about the community response to all of the changes that are happening in Tanzania. And Shani spent a lot of time sharing with me how he wanted to give back to his community. And a lot of time educating me and helping me better understand how I could play a role in helping the community achieve their goals. And they specifically asked me to be part of the move to help their children succeed in primary school.
My name is Shani Msafiri. I'm a director of Honor Community Fund based in Tanzania, and also I'm a co-founder of Honor Community Fund. You know, the land is not an issue. If we have educations, we can be able to get land, and we can be able to defend the land too. Land is not the biggest threat. Education is the biggest threat today, because so many Hadza people, we have no alternative way to survive. There is some of the people, they say that education is like an option for the Hadza people. But for the other community, it's not like options. No, we are the human being. We are deserving to be educated. We deserving to be aware and conscious about the politics about this world.
Olanakwe means children in Hadzane, which is the language of the Hadza people. Shani is the Tanzanian director of Olanakwe, and he is a member of the Hadza community. I am the U.S. director of Olanakwe, but don't let the word director fool you. I work for Shani and I work for the community, as this is a community-based initiative that is made up of members of the Hadza community, volunteer anthropologists like myself, volunteer healthcare professionals from Tanzania, and longtime friends of the community from all over the world. All of the initiatives are community-based. All of the goals are community identified, and the community has been integral in the creation of Olanakwe Community Fund from the ground up. Everything from the name to our logo, which is the feather of a guinea fowl bird, which is a feather that is used to fletch arrows that are still used for traditional hunting today. The Hadza spent so many years investing in me and in my research, answering my questions, kind of working for me. And it is my turn now to work for them, not only with them in terms of the research that I do, but also for them in this dual role that I play now as co-founder and co-director of Olanakwe Community Fund. Collaborative work is challenging, but it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done, and partially because I'm now dedicated to doing what the community has asked of me. This is their organization. I work for them.
Education is a key and the lighting, which is lighting our way. We need to help. We need to help these kids in order to build a strong leadership within and outside of the community.
The advice that I would give to an aspiring anthropologist is to follow your passion, to follow your dream. If you know that this is what you want to do, then you need to listen to that voice and just dive in. The other piece of advice that I would give is to embrace change. It took me a very long time to value community-based work. It was not part of my training when I first started out as an anthropologist, and it has become central to not only the way that I think about and conduct research, but also the way that I think about the work that's being done with Olanakwe Community Fund in the community. My final piece of advice is to remind young anthropologists, young budding anthropologists, that it's only in co-creating knowledge with the community that you end up generating research and answers and knowledge that benefits everyone.
Nanipaga moyo nikianza kulia chozi nafutia.